Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about Man City's big January transfer window and with a bit of a spin on it. So for this video, in preparation for it, I went out, messaged people on Instagram mainly, and asked City YouTubers what if they could bring in one single player, basically anyone, into the club to try and help us and finish the season. Who would it be? Who would they sign if they had the power to do that? And I've gone out and I've asked a few, and I got a few responses that I think are quite interesting. Now then, I'll put the messages on screen so that you guys don't say I'm not lying, but I can assure you I'm not. But anyway, let's move on to the first one, which is Tchouameni of Real Madrid. Now then, we all know who Tchouameni is. Deep lying midfielder, bit like Rodri in a sense. No one's as good as him, but can't replace the best. But Tchouameni, nonetheless, is a very good player and is a pretty important role in Real Madrid's team as well, to be honest. So Tchouameni, obviously, like I've mentioned, CDM role to my knowledge. He hasn't gotten any goals this season or assists for Real Madrid. He's played 21 games, so he's had the game time to do it. He's picked up 2 injuries. His injury record isn't the greatest, but it isn't the worst. I've seen worse, that's for sure. So, look, he's got no goal contributions, but as long as he's outputting in other ways on the pitch, for all we know, Tchouameni plays the pass, which then makes an assist, and that probably is the case. We don't know how low Tchouameni sits down on the pitch too, because, Rodri for City, he goes quite far forward, sometimes you see him in the box. Tchouameni, his role might be different in Real Madrid, to be fair to him. So, yeah, we have to keep those things in mind. The one thing to note on this one is transfer value and how much he'd cost. But my reason is that I think that this deal could ever happen is because of how star-studded Real Madrid are. You look at Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Mbappe, Jude Bellingham. These are all players that are being looked at for the future of potentially the Ballon d'Or. I mean, look at the top 3 Ballon d'Or of this season. Rodri obviously won it. Who was behind him though? Vinny Jr. and Jude Bellingham. And Carvajal wasn't even far behind on that. So, look, they're very good players. Real Madrid they've got so many top players. And maybe Tchouameni wants a slice of the Rodri pie, for example, and makes the move to City so that, he's seen at City that people that play lower down in the pitch get maybe more of the recognition that they deserve. Not saying that Tchouameni doesn't get the respect he deserves at Real Madrid, but I'm saying that there is no doubt that he would get the respect at City because of how much City fans adore Rodri and how much we appreciate what he does for us. Now then, in terms of his stats, there isn't actually too much to look at. He's got 2 yellow cards this season, which isn't that bad for a deep-lying midfielder. It's not that bad at all, if you ask me. But there are some stats that I have not noted down on a piece of paper that I would like to speak about. Specifically, his passing accuracy. Best on this list, by the way. 93.1% passing accuracy on an average, which is pretty good, to be fair. He plays a good amount of minutes. It's not like he's played one game. He's got 21 matches under his belt. He plays a lot of minutes for Real Madrid. And to be averaging that, it's pretty good. And like I said, best on this list. And per game, he gets 1.8 tackles in. I know he's got other stats that clearances that are in the similar area. So look, per game he's averaging about 2 tackles. That's at least two attacks stopped, 2 attacks prevented. Maybe he goes and loses the ball straight after, but he's definitely at least stopped an attack within there. And like I said, back to the fee, it would probably cost like 100 million, to be fair. He's not going to be cheap if we were to bring him in. But I think he would be worth it. I think you'd see that he'd be absolutely worth it. But anyway, moving on to the next one. Big ups to Hugh, by the way, for responding to the message. Really do appreciate that. Go check out HMTV. There's good content there. I've watched bits of it in the past. Moving on to Clinical, the Jamaican Citizens recommendation, Douglas Luiz. Now then, you most definitely have heard of this guy. Played for Aston Villa last season and was one of the best players in his position last season. Similar position to Rodri and Tchouameni. But the reason I bring up this one is because, look, in the summer he moved to Juventus. Big move for him. Probably wanted that move to Italy, moved to Juventus. It's one of the big teams in Italy. And in his mind, it's probably a step up from Villa. So he took the move. Villa got some cash. Juventus spent a good bit of money on him, and I believe that 2 players were included in the deal. So Douglas Luiz went on his way to Italy for a big season there. But safe to say that it hasn't really worked out super well since he moved there. When he left Villa, he had a transfer market value of 70 million. Now look at it, it's 45. It's gone down by 25 million. Not the best look. He's played 13 matches. I believe he's only started 2. He's had 3 injuries, which hasn't helped him. It's put him out of commission for 12 games. But again, even in the 13 games, he's got, I believe, just over almost 4 games worth of minutes. I believe it's about 347. So, look, he hasn't even played 5 matches worth of football when you put his minutes together, which is not the best look for I believe it was £50 million they paid for him, plus 2 players, at least 1. So, look, a lot of money has gone towards Douglas Luiz, and for some reason it's not quite worked out. And as of late, rumours have been around that maybe a loan move could be possible. I know City's name's been thrown in there. We've had interest in Luiz before. Used to be a Blue. Don't think he ever made it to the first team. He's very much going on loan, coming back, going on loan again. But yeah, like I said, it's not really worked out, and we've been mentioned recently, as well as others. And the rumour is that maybe a loan deal could be done here for Douglas Luiz. A loan move may actually be possible for him. I don't know if that would. Would I be opposed to a Douglas Luiz? No, I wouldn't. I believe Pep likes Douglas Luiz. I can't ever think of him not. And he strikes me as the kind of player that Pep would speak to at the end of the game. Because sometimes you'll see that images of Pep at the end of the match speaking to an opposing player. This season you saw it with, I believe, Van Heck at Brighton and Adama Traore at Fulham. So, he has been known to do that. That doesn't mean Pep wants him to join the club. It's not like he's whispering in the ear, come join City. But it probably means that he likes them, and I know that he tends to give them a pointer or even compliment their game a bit. Douglas Luiz, though, I think it would be a decent move, to be honest, if we could get Douglas Luiz. Being honest with you. But anyway, moving on to next target. This one was recommended by, apologies if I get the pronunciation wrong, Alf Verwijk. He's got a YouTube channel. It's just over 500 subscribers, so big up to him. Really do appreciate him responding to my message as well. Everyone that's responded to the messages, by the way, big ups to all of them, because this video isn't possible without them. But Joel Ordonez is the player recommendation. Now then, he actually gave me a huge list, Alf Verwijk, and essentially told me to pick one of the names there. I decided to go for a defender because I know apparently defender is one of our rumoured areas to go for. I mean, look at Abdou Kodo, been heavily linked with him through Fabrizio. But look, this guy's 20 years old, plays for Club Bruges, plays as a centre-back primarily. Don't think he plays anywhere else for them. He's played 22 games, got an assist in that time. He's picked up 5 yellows, which for a defender kind of can be expected. You're going to pick up yellows. He's worth about 18 million, so very much in the price range, I feel, of City. And I think a deal would be around 35 million-ish. So look, by no means cheap, but he's having a pretty good year. He's going to be 21 this year. And so it's a young player that we can bring in, make them learn the City way. Now then, in terms of this guy, again, I've got some stats here. He's got 92.1% passing accuracy. Tchouameni gave him tons of praise for getting 93.1. I believe that this guy comes third closest to matching that. So, he's pretty good from everything I've seen. I haven't seen much. I did check out a couple of clips just because I didn't really know who Joel Ordonez was until I saw the name on this list. So, but I mean, if everything ties up, he looks pretty decent. And hey, if we didn't get Abdou Kodir, who we have been linked to, which is more the more likely option, then I see no reason not to let this guy, especially as we're not getting that Jumar Bar guy anymore. It looks like he's on the way to Inter. I think Joel Ordonez would be a great candidate to come in. Also, averages about 3 long balls per game. I don't know if all of those are on target, but if you can even get one of those to Haaland, then Haaland, that's a chance for Haaland to get in on goal. And Haaland at times hasn't had the service. Sometimes he does get the service and doesn't score. But for me, I think that's a good trait to be able to ping a long ball, especially if it's over to your striker. Sometimes I'm sure it'll be over to the wingers, and the wingers, they're pacey, they can control the ball, so that might even benefit us a bit more. Contract is still 2028, so a little bit tough there, but I'm not really worried about that. I think we could talk to the player, and I think we could talk to the club. And on a whole, I think this would be a smart move if we were to go for Joel Ordonez. And anyway, moving on to next one. It's a relatively sized name. You know him all well. This one is recommended by MCFC Krish. If you've watched this channel, you've definitely seen Krish on here before. If you've been a relatively long viewer, Krish has been on here at least a couple times. Now then, Kimmich is the oldest on the list at 29. We're all aware of him and his talents, and a big thing that Krish mentions in his message is his ability to play the DM role and the right back role, 2 positions that we've been actually linked to. Now, initially I wasn't very sure of this move, but it kind of warmed up to me a bit because of the details that I'm going to get into. He's got a contract till 2025, which is this summer. So really, this is quite literally Bayern Munich's final chance to even earn any money off him unless they can organise that contract situation. I haven't heard many rumours, if any, on the contract talks between Bayern and Kimmich. I haven't really heard any talks going on. And that only benefits us. Maybe we can fly in and be like, yo, Pep Guardiola's here for another 2 years. You still got some legs in you. Want to have an extra spell at Pep with Pep in blue? And hey, I don't know, maybe that would convince him. I reckon he's quite comfortable in Germany, of course. I don't think there's any pressure for him to leave. I think he's probably liking life. He's been there for as long as I can remember, definitely since Pep's era there, which is coming on for probably about 10 years now, probably more. He's probably an academy player, if I'm being honest. But I would like to address the importance of midfielder and fullback. These have been our two positions that we are very interested in this summer. This January. And it kind of reminds me of the treble season when John Stones, he had a spell of playing right back for us. But it was a right back role where he would progress into midfield, and it worked really well. We all remember it was fabulous. And if Kimmich can do that, because Kimmich is a right back that can also play midfielder, he knows both roles very well. He's played a lot in both. And it's not like he's a CDM that will begrudgingly do a job at right back. I'm pretty sure he's just very comfortable with both and will play games in either. And if City can integrate that into our system where Kimmich is allowed to go from right back into the midfield, you kind of have that perfect that perfect player for that role if you were to bring that role back. Since then, that role's kind of become a centre back into the midfield. Akanji's done it. John Stones did do that as well. But look, the good thing is also Kimmich is worth 50 million on transfer market, but this is Bayern Munich's last opportunity to get money for him. We could just be like, yo, we've already got a contract agreed with Kimmich. He's ready to join us in the summer, but we'll give you 20 million. Okay, so not as much as he's worth, but we'll give you 20 million. You can maybe do something with that. Okay, it's better than losing him for free, and we'll take him now. So that is another way Bayern Munich can look at it, and another way City can look at it. And it's a way that the deal can get done. He's had 7 goal contributions for Bayern Munich this season, 24 games. He's had no injuries, 4 yellows, no reds. So all good stuff there. And in terms of his passing accuracy, the second best on this list, only behind Tchouameni, not Douglas Luiz, sorry. Only behind Tchouameni by 0.3%. He's on 92.8% passing accuracy, and he averages 91.7 passes per game. For argument's sake, 92 passes per game, which is a pretty good number. 1.5 tackles per game, again very close to Tchouameni's number, and he averages about a 7.3 rating each match. That's a pretty good average rating. That's a very rare stinker involved. I know Bundesliga and Bayern Munich are arguably the best team, but it's the fact that he's always putting in a good performance. For me, that is something to note. And so, whilst 29, probably not the best for age, but I think on a whole, it's not the worst deal that we could ever do. I think that it's pretty good, if you ask me. I think Joshua Kimmich could end up being one of those moves where we're like, man, I'm really glad that we took that gamble. Moving on, though, to a shout from a YouTuber, which if you're a City fan, you definitely know him. And if you're probably a football fan that watches YouTube, you probably know him as well. Big Steve. Big appreciation for him on this channel, of course. If you're a long-time viewer, you know what he's done for the channel. But nonetheless, he responded to my message, so big ups to that. And he recommended Tyler Dibling. Not going to lie, I hadn't heard of him until he had recommended him. I've looked into him a bit more now. Okay, haven't actually seen clips of him, but I did do a little bit of research into his stats. So he's very much quite a recent player for Southampton. Last season he was still playing in Premier League 2. This season he's actually come up into the senior squad and has been playing a lot. Like, he's got 22 games under his belt, and he's gotten 2 goals, I believe that is there. Now and then, one of the flaws to his game have been discipline, but he's the youngest player on this list at the same time. Look, young players, they make mistakes, they get booked. Phil Foden, I remember in his first or second season, got sent off in the Champions League. I actually think it was his first season. I think we were playing Feyenoord. He got a red card. And so, look, yellow cards for an 18-year-old, it doesn't worry me too much. I know he likes to take on players. Sometimes he'll win that. I think he's had about 82 successful take-ons and 100 unsuccessful ones. Look, that's the risk with a winger. And at 18 years old, I don't think that's awful, to be honest. Injuries, none to be recorded. He's young, so, take that as you will. It is a less likely chance that he's going to get injured because, well, he hasn't been in the game so as long. Some stats that he was praised for on WhoScored.com, that's where I get a lot of these stats, is he gets fouled often. Look, we all know a City player that likes to get fouled. Jack Grealish tends to get fouls, and that can be really good for slowing games down for us at the end. And for a winger, this is pretty good. 1.3 tackles per game. Now, I'd like to mention, he may have 2 GNA in 22 games playing for Southampton, but bear in mind, he's playing for Southampton. Southampton have won 1 game this season. They are super struggling, looking likely to go down again. I'd be surprised if they stay up. But this guy, he's been attracting attention. He's worth 22 million. He's clearly a good player for him. And I think he's going to be someone they're going to want to hold on to. I'd be very surprised if Tyler Dibling is still at Southampton if they go down, is what I'm saying about that. So, big big shout, not one I was expecting. One of the bit more out there shouts from on this video. So big ups to Big Steve for that. And hey, you might think we've already got enough wingers. Savinho, Oscar Bob, Phil Foden can play there. Jack Grealish, Bernardo can play there. That's just 5 off the top of my head. When I look at Savinho, as of late, he's obviously been playing a lot better, getting a lot of praise as he should. And he's been very much doing that on the left, which means right wing. Left wing now we have, if you put Savinho there, Savinho, Doku, Grealish. Right wing you have, in terms of solely wingers, you have Oscar Bob, who is injured, and if you want to play them there, Phil Foden and Bernardo. I don't think that's their best position, but they can play there. So Tyler Dibling, I'm pretty sure, is a right winger, and again, it's a decent option for you if you want a new winger, because we are struggling on that account. Moving on, though, to our final one, brought to you by HSGC. I really do appreciate you coming out. And HSGC, JSGC, I believe it is. Let me just double check. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, JSGC. Antonee Robinson, actually a player we spoke about not too long ago on the channel. 27, fullback for Fulham, has been quite heavily linked to a move away eventually, January or summer. I'm not sure. I know Liverpool have been looking at him, and look, Liverpool, Antonee Robinson has been under a bit of stick this season due to performances. And I don't really know what the situation with Simicast is, so maybe they're in for a left back. Maybe they would like a left back. And look, Fulham, I don't think they'd be able to stop the pull of a Liverpool or even a Man City if we decided to go in for him. If we did sign Robinson, that would allow Vardio to play as centre back, and if we want to do that, then we're going to need someone to play left back with Ake. Or even it allows Ake to be a full-on centre-back as opposed to playing left-back. Although I do like Ake at left-back, to be honest. He's played 20 games this season, and I would actually like to mention that. Really important thing to mention on the 20 games he's played. But he's gotten 7 goal contributions in that time, all of them being assists, which is quite nice. He's picked up 4 yellows, and look, a likely fee probably would be 45 million. I don't think Fulham are gonna just let him go, especially halfway in a season where he's gotten 7 assists in the Premier League. So he is something to look out for on the transfer list, and his market value. He's been a key player for Fulham this season. I don't think they're just going to let him go without a fight. Now then, on the 20 games he's played, have a guess on how many of those he's been subbed off on. I'll give you a couple seconds. None of them. He's played full 90 minutes every single Premier League game he's played. He hasn't played any other games. He's only played Premier League games. And he's played 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, so on. You get the message. This is a guy that doesn't seem to get fatigued much, and that can be huge. I remember playing Real Madrid. Well, I remember us playing Real Madrid last season, and we subbed off Haaland and De Bruyne, I believe, before penalties, and before even extra time, I believe. And Pep said they couldn't complete the game. It sucked, but we had to take it. They couldn't complete the game. Due to not being able to. They were too fatigued. But this guy doesn't seem to be an issue. He could just keep playing. Of course, with us, he has to play midweek games. Maybe that changes. And, I mean, of course, Pep does tend to do rotations too, so he would definitely not play some games and play others. But he started every game and he's finished every game for Fulham this season. So he's been an absolutely key cog in that team. And I think that if we did sign Robinson, I think it is a player that could really work out for them. Look at them. I believe they're in top 10 this season. And they're no team to be sneered at. They gave us a game at the Etihad, 3-2, I think it was. If Adama Traore could finish his chances, he had 2 1-on-1s, took 2 good saves to stop him. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate this, and I appreciate all the YouTubers that I reached out to and the ones that responded. Really did mean a lot. HMTV, Clinical the Jamaican Citizen, Al Vivake, MCFC Krish, Big Steve, and JSGC. Got it right that time. Big ups to all of them. Their content is brilliant. They're all going to be in the link down below. So if you want to find their channels, just go check out the description. Thank you all for tuning in. Big ups to them once more, and feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.